be deceived by advertisements. Sometimes ESL companies are too good to be true. So, Teacha, you gotta do your research, or else you're gonna be sorry. Did you know that I applied in Akatsuki out of haste? Like, I wasn't thinking clearly. I was just simply looking for the employer that's going to be responding first. Whoever's going to be responding as soon as possible, then okay, you got an ESL teacher. I was like that back in the day because I was so desperate for a job. I lost my job because of the pandemic. Many of you already know that. But, because I lost my sense of purpose, I was so desperate to look for a job. So I applied in 3 companies, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Native Camp, Rare Jobs, and Akatsuki. And because Akatsuki responded immediately, I think the next day, then I was like, okay, it's going to be Akatsuki. I didn't even do much research. I only watched a few YouTube videos to have an idea of what to answer on the interview. But that's it. Do I regret it? Actually, I don't. Even though I applied here out of haste, I'm very thankful to be a part of this company. I'm very thankful of the opportunities and the things that I've learned here. But then again, I can't help but wonder, if I did my research, could I have been, earning more than I am today? Could I be happier and more contented? I don't know. So on this video, I'll be sharing with you the things that you must do first before applying in any ESL company so that you're not going to end up regretting it. To those of you who are new here, please don't forget to give some love to my channel, subscribe to my channel, Teacha Karen, and comment below if you have any video requests or questions. And if you'd like to know what device I'm using, what headset, what lighting, etc. I'm using, I also have posted them on the description box. All you gotta do is to check them out. The link to Shopee and Lazada are there for your convenience. So let's get started. Tip number 1, do a background check. You have to do a background check on multiple companies. Don't just settle for one company. Yes, maybe you're browsing through your Facebook, your Instagram, and you saw an advertisement from 51Talk or Akatsuki or Native Camp or whatever ESL company. Don't just go ahead and hit apply, and then that's it. You have to list down those companies that you see on social media and try to do research. What are the hiring ESL companies now, etc. Then you make a list, right? You have to make a list, and you do your background check. You gotta be an investigator. You have to know, when was this company established? That's very important because it's quite scary. If the company that you're applying for was just established this year or last year, haven't really, proved their worth or themselves in the industry, because it basically puts your job security on the line. So you have to do know when the company was established. Number 2, do they have a digital footprint? What do we mean by digital footprint? Okay, nabulol ako doon. Digital footprint would be, what they post on social media. Do they have a Facebook page, an Instagram account? Do they have their own website? Because these are indicators that, wow, this is a legit company. They have their own website. Oh, wow, they have 400,000 followers on Facebook and so on. But let's say the company that you're interested in applying for doesn't even have a website, and the contact person for the application is just like some random Gmail account or some random person. Maybe you could just think twice. I'm not saying that they are not legit. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you have to think twice. You have to dig deeper and do some more research to find out the legitimacy of this company, because you don't want to end up regretting your decision. And teacher, you also have to know how established the company is. Do they have lots of students? Do they have millions of students? Or do they only have a few thousand students? Or do they just have less than 100 students? Because that also happens for, let's say, private tutoring companies. So you have to know, what you're getting yourselves into. Tip number 2, read the reviews. After you've already listed down all the companies that you'd like to be a part of, you did your background check, now it's time for you to read about that company. What do previous teachers say about this company? Are they happy? Or are all the things that you read on social media are just terrible things about this company? Because if all the things that you read about this company are terrible things, well, you gotta think twice. Okay, should I still get myself into this? I might end up experiencing the same thing. Or maybe you also have to look into, dig deeper into that review. Is it too subjective? Is the tutor or the teacher at fault here? That's why this happened to him or her. Because, you know, a lot of people on social media tend to like blah 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 blah, like rant and rant and rant, and they sometimes play the victim even though they were at fault. So you also have to dig deeper into the review and look into it. Is it subjective? Is it really the company's fault, or is it the tutor's fault? So after you've done your research, after you've, you know, read and watched videos about honest reviews about the company, then that's when you make your decision. That's when you eliminate companies that really have terrible reviews. Let's say you have a list of 5 companies, and on those 5 companies there's this one company wherein social media is like drowning with negativity about it, so eliminate it. So now you're on to 4 companies that you'd like to be a part of. Tip number 3, know everything you need to know about the salary. Teachers, the most important aspect of applying in any company, any employer, would be the salary, right? You don't work for free. So you have to really invest time and effort to list down and research everything you need to know about the salary. The basic would be the starting salary, the highest possible salary, the bonuses, what are the perks, right? What additional income could I get from that company? The penalties, you know, are they very strict? Is it very easy to get a complaint from the company, or not really? So the 5th one would be taxation. Will this company deduct tax from my salary? Will this company require me to submit my tax information? Will this company require me to file my tax, or is there no taxation at all? So those are the things that you must know before applying, because that's the most practical information, right? You have to know everything there is to know about what can affect the amount of money that you could earn from the company. Tip number 4, know the job requirements. Did you know that there are ESL companies that are truly flexible, and ESL companies that pose as a flexible company but not really? You know, say for example, some companies would require you to allot at least 20 hours per week. An example would be Skyeng, NovaKid, ACADSOC. Some companies will require you to plot 63 or 64 classes, if I'm not mistaken, such as 5-1 Talk. So there are companies that, even though they say they're flexible, yes, they are flexible, because you could plot your schedules ahead of time and think when you are available and when you're not. But then again, despite the flexibility, they still have a requirement. Now, for other companies that do not have like a requirement, an example would be Native Camp. Native Camp doesn't have any required hours, so if you're the type of person who, you know, finds it difficult to commit to a particular timetable or time schedule, then maybe that's a company for you, right? So what works for you may not work for me. That's basically it. Now, the next thing that you should know as well in terms of requirement would be the internet connection. Is it okay if your internet speed is like just 2 or 3 Mbps, or do they need it to be 10 Mbps? Is it okay if it's a wired connection, a wireless connection? Do you have to use a laptop? Or can you use your smartphone or your iPad? Those things will also affect your decision making, because you also want to be practical here. Let's say if you have a smartphone and an iPad at home, why would you apply to a company that requires a laptop? So you could consider applying, let's say, for Palfish, because in Palfish, you could use your mobile devices, such as your iPad and your smartphone, to conduct classes. Now, another job requirement that you must know as well would be what government or what bank information or BIR information do they need from you? Do they need NBI clearance? Do they need BIR information? Do they need a bank account? Because these are the things that when you submit them late, it may delay your application to that company. So you have to make sure that before you apply for a company, you already have all the requirements that they need from you. And lastly, in relation to this, you also have to know their basic SOPs. Let's say there are ESL companies wherein it's audio only, so you could just turn off your video, and even though you're wearing your house clothes, you could conduct classes. There are ESL companies just like ACADSOC, Native Camp, NovaKid, Ingu, and so on, wherein it's required for you to turn on your camera, thus you gotta look presentable. Even though you're dead tired, you still have to look presentable and bubbly, right? You also have to know if this company has the system of booked classes, wherein the students would be looking at your timetable and they would book a class for you, or if this company, assigns students to you, therefore you're always like guaranteed to have classes, or if this company also support sudden classes, let's say just like in call center, you're on standby mode and anytime someone can call you and have a class with you and you're like, okay, let's start a class. So you have to know those things to find out which works for you and which one doesn't work for you. And finally, know the student profile. You have to know exactly what kind of students you're going to be teaching. Number one, their nationality. Are they Asians or are they Europeans or are they global? Because when they're Asians, basically the time is relatively the same as your country, the Philippines, if you're a Filipino. If they're Europeans, then obviously this is going to be for a graveyard shift or a shift later in the evening. If this is like a global company, then obviously it's going to be anytime, 24/7. Now, on top of the nationality, you also have to know the age of your student. The age of your student. Why? Because there are people who are not cut out for teaching adults. They're scared of adults. And some people who hate teaching children. So if you hate teaching children, then never apply in ACADSOC, in 5-1 Talk, in NovaKid, because these are companies who teaches children. Maybe you could focus more on companies just like Native Camp. Many of their students are also adults, but they still do have kids as well. But you got to do your research as well. And just to answer the question, what's the difference between teaching adults and kids? Well, for adults, they have higher expectations. So you have to really polish your proficiency in English, your knowledge of grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary, because it's very easy for them to file a complaint when they haven't learned something or anything significant from your lesson. So on the other hand, you're just more relaxed, right? You're just calm and you're just like speaking to a friend or to another adult when you teach adults. But when you're teaching children, it's physically exhausting. Trust me. The songs that you have to sing, being silly, funny, and crazy all the time, wearing headbands like this, changing the pitch of your voice, so that they'd be more interested to learn from you. So things like those. You have to determine which one suits your personality before applying for any ESL company. There you have it, Teachas, the things that you must do before applying in any ESL company. As you can see, I am not biased. I am not favoring any ESL company. But what's important is you made that choice. You better not regret it. That's what's the most important. I'm just here to help you with your decision making so that at the end of the day, you're going to be super duper happy with whatever company you're going to be settling with or you're going to be applying for, right? So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, Teacha Karen, and comment below if you have any questions about ESL or if you have any video requests, and hit the bell icon to get notified for new video uploads. Once again, if you would like to know the ESL equipment that I use, such as my lighting, my headset, my computer, and so on, things that are super duper useful for ESL teachers, then please click the links on the description box. It'll direct you right away to Lazada or Shopee to make your lives easier. So I'm going to say goodbye now, and I hope to see you next time. Be a blessing to the people around you. Bye-bye.